delighted to say,
Sorry,
filling in for Loretta is my lovely wife, Joyce, who's here. And
hi there.
On this edition of Elder Cool, it's all about Italy. The food, the wine, the cuisine, the opera, the music, the beauty of the country. And we're not only going to talk about that, but we're going to experience a wonderful video montage and hear music sung by Luciano Pavarotti, by Verdi and Puccini and other great opera singers. Joyce, welcome to the show.
They don't sing. They only compose. Just a little aside there, Verdi and Puccini.
That's true. You know, you picked me up on that, right?
I did. Sorry.
The very first night in the hotel, we went to the concierge and we said, we'd like to dine outside of the hotel tonight. Give us a good restaurant recommendation. And by the way, that's a great thing to do when you're in Italy. Ask the concierge. They know their way around. Yes. And what did he recommend to us?
Well, the real recommendation, or the recommendation that there are two places I would send a Martian who landed.
Oh, that's another story. Save that.
You don't want that one now?
Don't know.
Okay.
I'm asking you. I asked you a specific question.
He told us to go to a little restaurant in Flaminia, which is was a little neighborhood, a cab ride away from the Piazza Verdi where we were staying. And it was a little bit outside of the city, maybe just 10 miles, if that. But what a restaurant it was. It was fabulous. The antipasti is laid out before you, and it's mostly just grilled vegetables and seafood that's served at room temperature or chilled. And for our main course, and this is the first time I ever had this, probably the last time I ever had it so well prepared. It was called spaghetti alla cartocci. And
say that again. You said it.
Spaghetti alla cartocci.
Alla cartocci.
Alla cartocci.
What does cartocci? What is it?
Well, what it is spaghetti, a seafood spaghetti with just a little bit of tomato sauce. It's not very tomatoey at all, and seafood, and they put it in a bag, like a parchment paper bag, and they bake it in the oven. The spaghetti has already been cooked a little bit, very al dente, and they mix it together and they put it in the bag and they put it in a very, very hot oven. And so what happens is that the bag puffs up, and so they bring it to you, and the bag's it's like a popcorn bag that's not open on the top. And they bring it to the table, and then the waiter will pinch the top with scissors or a sharp knife and pull the sides down.
Aha,
like
can I tell you?
Yes.
What happened that night when the aroma came out of that sack? It was like paradiso.
It was.
It was. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. I've never had a dish like that.
The aroma, it was so beautiful. My mouth is watering thinking about it now. It just perfumed the entire area where we were sitting, and the people who were sitting nearby, I think they enjoyed that we were so turned on by this dish.
Well, the thing is, it was a real, authentic Roman restaurant.
It was. It was not a tourist restaurant.
We were the only probably Americans in that restaurant, but it was wonderful. Let's talk about strolling around the Via Veneto.
Fellini style.
Right.
Oh, I think it was on the Veneto that we saw the Cafe Dolce Vita. And we just had to stop and sit and have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or Campari or something. And, you know, you get transfixed in a place like that, and you can totally understand why Fellini did what he did. Because the characters, the people walking by, the tourists, the comments, it's beautiful. People watching, the way the Italians walk, the way they dress, the way they have the Velcro on their shoulders and never seems to fall off, those jackets.
I tried that. My jacket always falls off.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they just never falls off. I'm sure there's Velcro under there.
And the sound of the Roman dialect that you hear in the background is like music.
It is like music.
La Dolce Vita actually was not filmed in the Via Veneto. Little bits of it, but Fellini created the whole set in Cinecittà in Rome. Interesting.
And a great studio to visit, too.
Yeah.
So if you get a chance to visit Cinecittà, you should go, because it's quite an experience. And they still have the commissary open, and it's always fun to go in there and have an espresso at the bar.
Right. Marty Scorsese told me once that he likes to go back there at Cinecittà because you know, see the sets that were used in some of his films. Tony Bennett's story in Rome.
All right. This is a time when you were not with me. I was doing some scouting for a tour company. And so I went with just a few people and stationed in Rome. And I saw that Tony was in Rome. And so I called him and we chatted, and he said, well, where are you staying? And I was at the Grand Hotel, which was off the Via Condotti, which is, you know, down from the Piazza di Spagna.
The Via Condotti, we don't want to, but that's the main shopping street.
The main big shopping street.
Gucci is there.
And so this beautiful hotel was right in that area. So I went out to do what I needed to do for my tour, getting this tour together, and visited a lot of little restaurants and hotels to see what I could send back to, you know, the person I was working for. And when I came back to get my key, and it was at the time when they still, you know, they weren't card keys that we have now. They actually had real keys that you put in the door, and they usually had a big tassel on them. And so you didn't want to walk around with them, and you gave them back to the front desk when you left. And so I go to get my key, and this very handsome gentleman says to me, oh, you have a guest waiting for you in the salon. And I said, I do. I wonder who that could be. And it was Tony Bennett, and he was just sitting there, just kind of people watching like we all do. And I walked in, and he stood up. He goes, Joyce, it's so good to see you. He was just as gracious as could be, and he had his daughter Joanna with him. And so walking down the Via Condotti with Tony Bennett and Joanna, you could just feel people, like you walk, and then you could just feel them going, oh my gosh. Who?
Well, he has that classic
because he has
face.
that classic face, Roman face actually,
Absolutely.
but he's Calabrese.
He's Calabrese.
And but what a beautiful gentleman he is, and he, you know, he's so kind. He said hello to people. He stopped. He let them take pictures with him, and he's still like that today. So Tony never disappoints.